It is 2 in the morning. You are lying in the dark, thinking about a massive list of goals you need to accomplish, but you cannot bring yourself to execute a single one of them. You likely blame your character. You assume that a lack of innate discipline is the only thing keeping you from being productive and asleep. The real issue is that your brain has learned to rely on the spike of a deadline to overcome its own resistance. You are waiting for the physiological stress of panic to act as a starter motor. You can bypass this stress response cycle entirely. There are 5 specific psychological systems that remove the need for willpower and make execution feel automatic. Relying on panic to fuel your work is an unstable strategy that leads to inevitable burnout. Shifting your focus from your personality to your psychological architecture makes consistency a matter of design. To see how this looks in practice, we can look at the Harry archetype under extreme exam pressure at Hogwarts. Facing an impossible test, his brain is overwhelmed. He is stressed, confused, and radiating the chaotic energy of someone who feels at the mercy of their environment. Then there is the Hermione archetype. She sits in the exact same school, taking the exact same tests, with the exact same stakes, yet she is entirely calm. It is easy to credit this to superior intelligence or a natural talent for staying cool under pressure. But her calm is actually the result of a calculated defense mechanism. She uses a precise sequence of steps to neutralize pressure long before the day of the exam. The process starts by eliminating the zero state. When you open a textbook for the very first time right before a test, your brain perceives the foreign information as a threat, triggering an immediate avoidance response. The first shift is to skim the material weeks early. By looking at summaries and diagrams without trying to memorize them, you signal to your brain that the material is familiar and safe. Once you sit down to work, you face the drain of distractions. Willpower functions like a battery. Every time you choose to ignore a notification, you use up the energy required to stay on task. The second shift is physical isolation. You remove the enemy of temptation entirely, so your brain doesn't have to waste energy fighting it. Focus occurs by default when you design a workspace where the primary task is the only remaining option for your attention. When you try to mentally process a massive project all at once, the sheer scale of the task triggers a paralytic response in the brain. The third shift uses micro-wins to provide a steady supply of dopamine. Finishing a single formula or one paragraph provides the chemical fuel needed to reach the next step. These frequent points of completion generate the momentum required for the larger project. However, momentum stops if you fall into the trap of passive reading. People often spend hours highlighting text because it feels productive, even though it hides their actual ignorance. The fourth shift is to actively seek out errors early. You close the book and test yourself immediately, forcing yourself to see exactly where your knowledge is missing. Early mistakes create cognitive friction. This struggle forces the brain to actively reconstruct neural pathways, resulting in a more durable memory than passive review ever could. These strategies only work if they are applied consistently. If your execution depends on whether or not you feel like it on a Tuesday morning, your output will remain erratic. This is why the final shift is the creation of a closed loop. This system connects a cue to a 5-minute action. Sit down, perform one task, check a box, step away. Using a locked schedule bypasses decision fatigue. By removing the daily choice to work, behavior becomes an automatic reflex. True consistency is built on the repetition of these cycles. This structure divorces the act of working from the volatility of human motivation. If your current workload feels impossible, you are likely living in the anxious archetype, waiting for the environment to force your hand. The alternative is to build a system of early starts, isolated environments, microtasks, early testing, and locked routines. When you do that, you become a systematic operator. Life becomes quiet and steady because your actions are no longer dictated by stress. Daily victories are the result of the systems you build. When the structure is sound, progress happens even when willpower is low. To level up your psychological systems further and learn how to stay calm with the precision of a spy, watch the next video on your screen.